Alright, so let's look at your block start here. If I zoom in, okay, get nice and close, I'm going to go through a few things that we should look for. The first thing that you want to look for is that your head, okay, is neutral to your spine. Right? You want to make sure that you're nice and relaxed. The next thing that you want to look for is that your shoulders are over your hands, okay? So your shoulders here, okay, should be directly over your hands, okay? I kind of feel like your blocks are too far back. So we need to move the entire set of blocks forward just a little bit, all right? The next thing that we want to look for is that your hands form a bridge, okay? So right here, okay, I should see your hands form a bridge, and they shouldn't come down and be flat like that. The next thing that we want to look for is that your front shin is parallel to the ground, okay? So when I say front shin, I'm talking about the shin that's from that front pedal. So this front shin should be parallel to the ground. And you will see that it is parallel, so that is a good sign. The next thing that you want to look for is that your back knee is just forward of your front toe by about 3 to 5 inches. Okay, so we're talking about this knee right there being just forward of this toe by about 3 to 5 inches. So I'm willing to bet, because we're pretty far back here, that is actually a greater distance there. Okay, so how do we fix that? What do we need to do? Basically, you need to move this back pedal back, okay? Because what happens when we move that back pedal back a little bit? We will then see this knee come back, and the distance becomes a little shorter from where your knee should be to where your toe is. All right? And the next thing that you want to look for is that your knee is to your forearm. So I'm talking about this knee right here coming just behind your elbow there, just behind your forearm. Right? So if you look at it, it looks that you might be a little crunched there. Actually, I really think that's just the angle. I think if we were a little bit more straight on from the side, it would be perfectly fine. Okay? So that's everything in your start position. So let's fast forward and look at your set position. Right? The first thing that we want to look for in your set position is that your hips are slightly higher than your head. Okay? Which I actually feel like the distance here might be a little much. So you might want to bring your butt down just a little bit. The next thing we want to look for is that there is displacement of our shoulders slightly forward, okay, over the line. Not pointing downward, but slightly forward. Now I kind of feel like your shoulders are pointing down a little bit. All right, and that might have to do with your butt needing to come down. Your butt comes down a little bit, and then all of a sudden we are looking at something pointed more like that. All right, hopefully that made sense. There were a lot of arrows there. But you can see here that your shoulders are displaced ahead of the line in your hands, which is good. That's a good thing. That means that you have enough muscle to hold yourself up over the line. The next thing that you want to look for is that, and probably one of the most important things, is that there is a 90-degree angle created from, well, let's redo that, created from our hip to our knee, and from our knee through our heel, okay? You'll see there that that angle is a little bit too big. Now again, if you bring down your butt a little bit, that's probably going to change that angle to something, let's see, more like here, okay? There we go, we're a lot closer to 90 degrees there, all right? So hopefully that makes sense to you. And then the very, very last thing, and it's a small thing, is that you want to make sure your feet are completely connected to the pedals, all right? Meaning you don't really want to see any space between your foot and the pedal. If you do see some space, then you need to adjust your pedals either up or down. And that's something that you can mess with. Other than that, I think everything looks pretty good. So let's watch your blocks in slow motion. That really isn't all too bad. So let's bring everything back. I want to see your initial explosion out of the blocks. Okay. So let's zoom back in here. Some things that I like and some things that I don't like. All right. I really like the extension that you're getting here, okay? But then here's where the problem is, that being bent at the waist. That's not a good thing, all right? So normally, you would want to see a straight line going from your heel all the way through your shoulders, okay? So that means that these shoulders should be up here where the line is. So you want to get rid of that bend of the waist. How do we do that? Okay, A, we have to trust ourselves out of the blocks. And B, if you get more arm swing here, okay, and your hand should actually be up in here. Oop, sorry about that. Your hand should actually be up here. All right, so then you would get more arm swing there. Okay, that swing is going to cause your body to straighten out. Okay, it'll cause everything to straighten out and you'll look more like that. Okay, I like the dorsiflex foot there, all right, and I like this angle here. Okay, those are athletic movements, but really you just gotta straighten out and drive everything in this direction. Okay, so right now you're trying to stay low. You don't have to try to do it, you just have to be explosive out of the blocks and everything should line up just right. So again, we'll watch it, this time not in slow motion. And not so bad. Hopefully that helped.